couldn't, so I can't help nobody.
Do you recognize anyone in this courtroom?
I know what I could get away with.
He put everyone in jail.
He's got like a whole city wanting to kill him.
Karam, Jeff in Vegas, good afternoon.
Great to meet you, Jeff. Thank you for the time.
Man, what a thrilling documentary. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm just been fascinated with Tekashi 6ix9ine since I first saw Gummo, and regardless of what you think of him personally, just an amazing story, his rise to fame. And what I find fascinating, I love how you go into his early life, because he started as a bodega clerk in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and everybody starts as a nobody, right?
Yeah, totally. I think the story, is, I don't even consider this a music doc. I think the story is so much bigger than Tekashi. I think this project is really about our society, right? Like, how does somebody this toxic thrive? How do they emerge? How do they grow to prominence? I think that's a really fascinating and important conversation to have right now. So that's kind of the approach with the whole project.
I think fans are thirsty for his early days. What was he like? And you explore his rough childhood. You got his biological father to come on camera. Was that a challenge?
The whole project was a challenge, but I think, the production team at Lightbox, along with our partners at Imagine, Rolling Stone, everyone was just incredible. And I think from the beginning, we knew that this was a project that it is a controversial project, and it is a project that we didn't want to glorify Tekashi. We didn't want to tell a straightforward Tekashi film at all. It needed to say something bigger. It needed to be a larger commentary about our society. So,
yeah, because I thought that it was interesting that Tekashi, Daniel Hernandez is playing a character, right? I mean, Tekashi is not him; it's a persona.
Right, and I think that's what the entire project's about, right? It's this idea of manufactured celebrity. It's like and I think that's the larger conversation that we're hoping to spark in the culture, is like, there are manufactured celebrities in politics, there's manufactured celebrities in pop culture there, because everybody has their own platform now, right? And I think this project is very similar to a film like Joker, right? It's like, nobody watches the Joker saying, well, I wonder if that guy was a good guy or a bad guy. We're taking the stance that this is not a moral human being, and we're saying, okay, why? Like, let's have another conversation. I don't think the conversation is about just his story. It's about everything else.
Right, exactly, because he's the first internet rapper to use and take social media by storm. I mean, and SoundCloud, no need for record companies anymore, all about self-promotion. Yeah. I mean, you could teach a college course on what he's done in just a short few years. Right,
and you're seeing this happen all over the place, right? Like, you're seeing this happen in politics. You're seeing this happen in pop culture. You're seeing it. It's just the time we're living in. And I think that's why this project's so important, is it's a capsule into what is happening right now in our culture. There's people who have their own platforms, who want to be famous, and who want power, or want whatever they want, right? Whatever their ultimate goal is. And these platforms enable them to, there's no more gatekeepers. When you have your own platform, you can go and do the craziest shit ever. And
he does.
Yeah.
He absolutely does.
Totally.
Because he's a tech kid in a digital age. And I thought that was fascinating, that when you hear him in interviews and his music, you kind of dismiss it as kind of like an uneducated, but he's not. He really knows how to work digital media. I thought that was fascinating. Also, you got Sarah, his first girlfriend to talk. So yeah. Was that an easy task, or because I know she's very protective and.
They're not on great terms. I think there's a lot of things that happen between them, and you'll find out, people will find that out in the show, but everyone was difficult to sit down. Nobody wants to talk about the deeply traumatizing experiences that they've had. But I think our approach is a very human approach. A lot of times we had just conversations with people off the record, or grabbed coffee with people, or grabbed drinks with people, obviously before the pandemic. And our approach was really like, all right, let's explain to people that we are not trying to just capitalize on this person and this story. We are trying to use this story to make a statement about the times. And I think once a lot of people close to him realized, like, okay, cool, that's like actually that's really interesting that you guys are doing that, I think they were much more receptive to sitting down and having a conversation.
I found it fascinating that he's a Trump supporter. I mean, what is it with rappers being Trump supporters? I mean, they really don't watch the news. They don't know what they're saying when they say that, right?
Well, I wouldn't generalize all rappers. I think there's a lot of rappers out there that are incredible voices for the culture and are very well informed and are advocates for a lot of change. And But I think a guy like Tekashi, like, people will be able to see this in the film, and he talks in the interviews that we acquired, he talks about it. But he was obsessed with Trump in the film because the two of them are the same, like that. And there's a lot of parallels that appear throughout the show that I think viewers will find fascinating. Is both of their rise, like both Tekashi and Trump rose through the same tactics, jarring, ridiculous antics online to get people to look and stare and be amused until it wasn't funny anymore, right? And I think that is the whole project. And I think a lot of people, a light bulb is going to go off halfway through the series where it's like, holy shit, I'm literally watching the rise of Trump, which is also the rise of Tekashi.
Yeah, because Tekashi used Instagram and Trump used Twitter.
Right? But Trump's not spelling the thing. The thing that I think is interesting is they're both hyper calculated. Tekashi 6ix9ine, everything he did on these online platforms is hyper calculated. Everything Trump does on these online platforms, whether it's spelling Kansas City wrong or a tweet or this and that, those aren't like accidents. Those are hyper calculated strategic moves so that the message gets retweeted and talked about. And as long as you're in the conversation, you're relevant. And I think that's what some of these figures have realized, these supervillains. And
tell me about working with Brian Grazer.
Brian and the team at Imagine are incredible. I think, his work speaks for itself, and Imagine is just such an incredible group of minds. Like the way people think, it really challenges you as a filmmaker, right? Where it's, from when you're getting notes to the conceptualizing and the discussions and all these things they're high level discussions. And I think that's what you get when you work with really top tier producers. And that goes for the entire team at Lightbox as well, with Jonathan Chin and the entire team at Rolling Stone, and even Peter Scalatar, the showrunner, who's phenomenal and just an incredible creative partner.
And finally today, Karam, can we count him out? He seems to have fizzled a little bit since he came back out and since he got out of jail, but you think fans have grown weary, or are they going to stick by him?
I think, and that's what the third episode I think really explores is, so I think the cycle of a supervillain begins with Stark. This is kind of what I looked at when mapping out the Joker, Trump, Tekashi, like all the villains of our culture. There's a common cycle that exists. And that cycle is, it begins as, it's nothing. It's just, that guy's hilarious. That guy is funny. I love watching that guy. He's amusing. That soon transforms to, oh shit, like this person is really kind of like creating a mess. Like they're creating havoc. And then eventually we get so used to their antics with Trump, with Tekashi, that we become desensitized. So what's happening right now is that third part where we get desensitized. And then the result of that is that they just fade into irrelevance. Donald Trump has faded into irrelevance. Tekashi 6ix9ine has faded into irrelevance, I think they'll do like 20 million views or whatever on a project, but fans aren't going to go out and buy his sweatshirts and merchandise and buy tickets to the shows and all these things, So it's a cycle.
Fascinating documentary. I really enjoyed it. I love how you just my imagination at the end. I thought that was a nice little double that you did there.
Thank you.
In Tekashi's head. Also, I have Giancarlo doing the narration. Just fantastic. So
thank you.
Very, very, very intriguing documentary. I can't wait to see you do next. And thank you for talking to me today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time, Jeff.